Hi, I just want to welcome you to my live. Jennifer Eivaz here, and I hope you're having just a wonderful, wonderful week. I'm looking forward to hearing everybody who's having something open up in their city. I don't know about you, but we're starting to really see some glimmers of hope, at least that some things are going to be opening up and opening up soon. And so let me know your name. Let me know where you're from. Be sure to share this with your friends, share it with your followers, and let's collectively talk about travailing prayer, a hot intercessory topic, and I think is appropriate for this week especially. So again, let us know your name, let us know where you're from, and then also be sure to share this, as we just press into this topic of travailing prayer. And by the way, we have the Excellence in the Supernatural online. That mentorship group is going to begin in June. If you register in the month of May, you get a discount. June, the price will go up, so I want to encourage you register in May. And these kind of topics, we talk about these things, but we talk about all the stuff that you have questions about that you don't quite know where to get those questions answered. It's very community based, and I really enjoy this group. We're getting ready to start a third year. We do different topics each and every year, and we just cover them thoroughly. We talk about them in the Facebook group. I'm in that Facebook group just about every day, and I do extra stuff, on top of what I've committed to for the online group. And I love seeing them all in the different places that I travel. Speaking of, it's looking like I'm going to start traveling again in June. I'm excited about that, and definitely got some stuff opening up again. So let's talk about travailing prayer. What is travailing prayer? There are a lot of different aspects of prayer. There's different kinds of prayer. There's the prayer of supplication. That's a prayer of petition, and where we ask the Lord to do something. Then there's prophetic intercession. That's the prayer that prophesies. We get the word of the Lord about something and we prophesy it, and it sets things in motion. And then there is travailing prayer. Travailing prayer is a really unique kind of prayer. And the reason I'm bringing it up this week is that I have this sense, and I brought it out Sunday when I was speaking to our online church. It's on my YouTube if you want to catch it, Jennifer Eivaz YouTube. And it was about how your prayers can change a nation. But I said that this week in particular, intercessors are going to feel a lot more intensity. Danette, thank you so much for giving a shout out about the mentorship group. Danette's in the mentorship group, and I've loved, literally watched her just go from one place to another in the midst of the mentorship group, and just as she is pressing out in ministry more and more, like God's hand is on her, and I've just enjoyed, being a part of her life and watching that happen. I'm sure she has other mentors in her life, but I know she is a part of that group, and like her and like other people there, I'm just watching them beautifully emerge. It's amazing. So make sure you get on that mentorship. Sorry, I can't speak enough about it. I really enjoy it. So anyway, back to travailing prayer. The thing is, people are, I really know that intercessors are going to begin to experience an intensity of prayer this week. There's this thing about the Holy Spirit. Like a lot of us, we appeal to him, or we resonate with one aspect of his personality, which is the dove side of the Holy Spirit. And we've perhaps heard teaching. It's good teaching that the Holy Spirit is, a gentleman, and he's just very gentle, and that's all true. But we forget that the Holy Spirit's also fierce. He's totally got this fierce side of him. After he came upon Jesus in the water, this is in the book of Mark. We only see this one time in the Gospels, but he comes upon Jesus in the water when he's getting baptized. And so what happens is very gentle, he's like a dove. And then the next thing you know, he's driving him into the wilderness, so he can go through 40 days of temptation and suffering and all of that. And that word drive or drove, when it says the Spirit drove Jesus into the wilderness, is the word ekbalo. That's a Greek word. It's the same word we use when we cast a demon out of somebody. We drive him out of somebody. So that's what the Holy Spirit did to Jesus and pushed him into the wilderness. And he has a very fierce side to him. And so when you are partnering with the Holy Spirit in prayer, because we don't pray outside of partnership with the Holy Spirit, this is a together thing. It's done in union with the Spirit of God, him leading us to pray the right things. And so and you'll begin to feel his emotions and his nature and everything as you're coming together to pray through things, especially on a national level and in the nations. And so anyway, I've been telling the intercessors, I started telling them Sunday, that you're going to feel an intensity this week, and the reason is because we're getting ready to burst through. Micah chapter 2 verse 13 in the Message version, we're getting ready to burst through the things in the spiritual realm that will impact our natural realm. And many of you understand what I'm saying by that we have to win the victory in the spirit, and then our natural realm will catch up with what the intercessors have done in the spiritual realm. And so a good picture of travailing prayer is this. So I was just talking about intense prayer, but now I'm talking about travailing prayer. Romans 8:26, likewise the Spirit also helps in our weaknesses, for we do not know what we should pray for as we ought, but the Spirit himself makes intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. So this kind of prayer can look like deep groanings, okay? They're deep groans, words, there's not really a clear expression. It's just more of a groan. And so let me read it to you out of the Passion Translation, because that is, I like how the Passion Translation, presents this verse. And so let me pull it up really quick and I'll read it to you. It says, and in a similar way, the Holy Spirit takes hold of us in our human frailty to empower us in our weakness. For example, at times we don't even know how to pray or know the best thing to ask for, but the Holy Spirit rises up within us to super intercede on our behalf, pleading to God with emotional sighs too deep for words. Okay, check that out. Super intercede on our behalf, pleading to God with emotional sighs that are too deep for words. That's out of the Passion Translation. Okay, and so anyway, somebody just asked, Nancy says, can it be crying for a person? That's actually a type of intercession that's done through tears. Again, we're talking about different types of intercession. I'm talking about travail. Travail looks like you're birthing something. Travail is very deep. It's very, very prophetic. It's something that you cannot manufacture yourself. It's something the Holy Spirit initiates. It's not like you can have a travailing prayer service, because you can't make this happen. And frankly, you don't want to, because it's so intense. And so I remember years ago when we began our prayer services here at Harvest Church in Turlock, California, and we began our weekly prayer services, and we would come together every Saturday at 7:00 p.m. And I remember this one in particular, pretty soon after we started, and a bunch of people came into the prayer service, and I remember one man in particular, and it was his first time to the prayer service. There was other men there, but it was his first time to the prayer service. And so what I remember with several people in the room, probably half the room, without exaggeration, and this one man is his first time to the prayer service, suddenly, without warning, half the room was doubled over and groaning and looking like they're giving birth to babies, in a sense, not totally, but in a sense. It was so deep and it was so intense. And so I just got up there and said, well, anybody who is still standing, will you please go help the others that are not, because they just needed help or support or something. And it was really, really intense. But the reason there's a travailing prayer is it is the final prayer before you break through something. It's not the only prayer, but it's the final prayer, especially the stuff that needs breakthrough on. And so, I remember back then, there was a travail, just a huge travail that came onto that time of intercession. And we just began breaking through stuff and barriers as a church as a result, and we're here to tell the story today, because it was a very tough environment when we first started. And so anyway, I've been through some very intense travailing times, and one was so intense that the Lord actually actually pre-warned me, and he told me, counseled me that this is going to happen to you. You can read about it in my book, Glory Carriers. It's actually chapter 5, it talks about this travail that I went through. And so anyway, that he told me, this travail is going to come upon you, and you need to tell your intercessors and some other intercessors that they need to pray over you, that you wouldn't die. Okay. And I've never heard that instruction before for anybody, but that I'm just saying it can go into such a deep intensity, and it's a prayer of the Spirit. And for him to actually pre-warn me like that was pretty serious. But I've experienced the fruit of that travail. It did happen exactly as he said. And so, so anyway, travailing prayer. I really think that this week, next week, those of you who are intercessors, like you're fluent in this, there's going to be these things. This is going to come upon you because we're getting ready to burst through. And so these are the bursting through types of prayer. These are the breakthrough prayers. These are the final prayers. As things begin to open and awaken in our nation and beyond. And so I just wanted to give you some counsel on this topic, help you understand it should it come upon you, to not freak out and be worried or anything like that. And just know that God will take care of you. Hopefully you're with somebody, but if you're not, the Holy Spirit will take care of you and bring you through it powerfully. And, it's just part of us praying corporately for a corporate breakthrough, a national breakthrough in the nations. So this topic and other topics like this, we cover these kind of topics in the Excellence in the Supernatural online mentorship. And so avail yourself of this. It's really, really good. And I look forward to seeing you again. God bless.